Today we have something very special because we've got a guest who's brought this very cool Toyota pickup truck. So introduce yourself and tell me, what year is this truck?
My name's Louis Lively. I am from here in Colorado, and this is my 1994 Toyota pickup SR5 Deluxe. So it's got the extra cab on it. It's got a little longer bed than the regular, and then of course it also came with the larger size tires.
Simple arithmetic can tell you a lot about Toyota trucks. Like right now, extra value options can add up to big savings for you. On this or this, but hurry before your dealer is minus the one you want.
I bought this from a family friend's parents who had it since new, so I'm only the second owner of the truck.
Yeah.
Has 156,000 miles on it. I've had to do a few light things. I put some new shocks on, some new tires. I had a little bit of engine work done.
Right?
I had the ball joints done. I had the bearings done on all the wheels. Had a new gasket put on around the valve cover because it was leaking a little bit, and then because it sat for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
The power steering pump needed to be rebuilt. But yeah, other than that, I haven't done much. I did put some of the LED lights on it because the original vacuum sealed halogens were not the...
Old school headlights do not do a lot for you. And so that is definitely a welcome addition, especially if you're going to drive around in the mountains. It gets pretty dark and windy up there. A lot of wildlife crossing the road. But what's impressive about this truck is the condition of it. Obviously, it's been used, so it's got a couple little dings and dents and some rock chips and things. But what's really crazy, check this out. Looking at the frame underneath, you would think it's never driven through rain. I mean, it looks brand new, which is really, really cool. Yeah, and solid rear axle and independent front suspension, which was, that was a factor on these trucks for a long time. They switched to independent fronts in the mid-'80s. And yeah, that's been a staple of these vehicles for forever. And you said you did the shocks as well?
I did the shocks as well, put some Bilstein 4600s on it. Between the tires and the shocks, rides so much better. Just having a little bit more modern equipment on it. It's funny, you were talking about the frame. When they backed it out of the garage when I first went to go look at it, I immediately went underneath, came out and said, "How much do you want?"
Yeah.
When I saw that there was no rust.
Well, because the rest is not hard to figure out, so long as the truck is solid.
I mean, even the exhaust on this is the original exhaust on the truck.
Well, and this is really one of the only spots where there is some rust, and I guess you said that it got hit there.
It got dinged, and it kind of split, and if these ever split, almost all of them rusted.
Yeah, then it just starts.
Yeah, so I'll eventually replace that. I mean, the only thing that is bad about this is I do mountain bike, and I do have a back cover.
Right.
But this sticks out far enough that it keeps the wheel from going down over the side.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get that solved at some point.
Also pretty cool, too, that you've got the original Toyota branded drop-in bed liner back here.
It is. It is not fun when it's wet.
Yeah,
You do slip and slide like you're on an ice skating rink. But, I mean, this is the original. They only did the cutouts for where they had the hooks. They gave me a ramp that goes with it. I don't think that was original, but they just gave it to me.
And
but
like
yeah,
said,
as you can tell, Elway Ford. I mean, Elway.
Yeah.
From here in Denver. The only thing that I know that they did is when my friend went to law school at the University of Houston, they put the trailer hitch on it, and they towed all of her stuff down to Houston when she moved down there to go to law school.
But again, so like you said, it's a slightly longer bed and cab. So this truck is actually deceptively, it's fairly long. But what I love about it is how narrow this truck is. Because this is something that is so hard to find now. I can stretch my arms basically further than the width of the truck. And we've got our brand new 2024 Tacoma right behind this. So 30 years of difference in Toyota pickups to compare here. And that's one of the big differences that you notice looking at the old truck right next to the new one. Look how wide this is. Yeah, and of course, this is also a four-door truck, a full four-door, because that's typically how most people configure their trucks these days. That's what they want. But another really cool thing on this truck.
I would not want to ride in the back, though.
Oh, on either one, because you've actually got back seats here too. But I love this interior.
Yeah, they took very good care of the truck.
Yeah, you've got the one little split on the side of the seat, but otherwise, you know,
and that's actually an easy repair.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then you've got a little armrest there. And then how do you go about getting into the back seat?
You actually, there is a lever on the front seat here. And it slides forward.
Slide forward and then pitch that.
And then you get into the little cubbies that are back here.
Oh, yeah.
You've got your little toolkits and everything. The spare tire is a full-size spare tire underneath of the back.
Yeah, and then of course these windows even pop open, which is also pretty nice.
They do.
The back glass opens up.
Having the back glass open up is nice. Now, they had a problem when they first bought the truck because people can go through those back glass pretty easily.
Not hard to break into. Yeah.
So the radio in it is one of the old 90s style that you push the button and the front pops off.
Right.
So you can't steal it.
So that no one wants to steal it. And again, too, also really cool how simple this interior is. You've got analog gauges, but a pretty cool layout. I like these barrel-shaped gauges that you've got along the side for your temperatures and everything. And then, of course, manual transmission, very simple HVAC controls, simple radio setup. This is just a good, honest, simple, durable pickup.
And the other surprising fact is that the AC blows ice cold.
Yeah.
Which is strange for a Toyota, especially of this year. They usually went out, but I don't know if I could ever get it serviced again because it's got the old refrigerant in it.
Well, and two, I noticed that you've also got the smoker's windows up front here, and these are hand crank windows, which is also all good stuff because it's not going to break.
Well, that's part of the deluxe package back then. You got the bonus of the deluxe, you know, the extra thing if you had to hand crank your own window.
Yeah, well, who doesn't want that as a feature? And why don't we pop the hood up and show under the hood, because it's also impressive, not only the condition of the truck underneath and in general the paint, but looking under the hood here.
Yeah, Wayne and Vicky took very good care of the truck.
Yeah.
And it's been well maintained. I've got the original handbook for it. I've got a lot of the receipts, and I've got an original bill of sale as well, I mean, in the window sticker.
Yeah, which is awesome. And whenever you find a truck like this that's been looked after, people are keeping their documents on it, that's obviously a good sign. And then we've got a 3-liter fuel-injected V6 here. I think, 180 horsepower?
It had 150 horsepower and 180 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
It is not a...
Not fast.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people honk at me from behind.
What have you gotten it up to on the highway?
So far, I've only got it up to 75 out on C470. So if you are in 5th gear and you're pulling about 3,400 RPM.
Yeah.
You don't want to go too much faster than that.
And it's also really cool underneath the hood here. You can tell that this is from an era where these trucks were meant to be maintained and worked on, and they give you this really useful information. So you've got your timing information, you've even got your valve clearance specs here right under the hood. So all that stuff is easy to find. They wanted these trucks to last for a long time, and part of that is keeping up with them. So information like that gives you all the specs that you need to do some of those adjustments and regular maintenance items, stuff like that is amazing. I wish they did more of that today.
Now, when I had the valve cover seals replaced, they took the heads off and were looking down into the valves, and they were like,
clean.
They were like, don't touch this. Just, we're going to seal it back up. He goes, don't do anything. Your shims don't even have hardly any wear on them. Yeah. He goes, just leave it alone.
And how many miles are you up to on it?
This has 156,000 miles. I just turned it coming up here. And I bought it with just over 155. So I haven't put a whole lot of miles on it. We just use it for running around the neighborhood. And, you know, when it snows down in Centennial, we had about 11 inches, 6-7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just put it in 4-high, and it just goes right through the neighborhood, just plows the snow right over the top of it.
Especially because the truck is also fairly light. From the research we were doing, it seems like it weighs around 3,900-ish pounds.
Yeah, it's not heavy at all.
Yeah, which is, again, another one of those things that's changed when you compare it to newer trucks. Because if we walk around to the new Tacoma, this truck, of course, has the brand new base powertrain for the 2024s. It's a turbo 2.4, and it makes 278 horsepower, 317 pounds-feet of torque. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission. You can still get these trucks with a manual, which is pretty cool because that's almost gone away entirely. And it's not quite as cool to look at, I gotta say.
Well, at least it doesn't have a cover on it like most engines do anymore.
That's true, but yeah, you're just looking at a lot of sensors, a lot of hoses versus the intake on your truck that says V6, 3-liter EFI. That all is pretty cool and pretty fun to look at.
Well, the other thing is there's nothing plastic on my truck whatsoever.
The whole truck, yeah.
I mean,
this is all plastic.
You hit something, you're going to do some damage.
Yeah.
And of course, that's got so many cool skid plates underneath of it. The one underneath of the transfer case is the one that cracks me up because it just sticks down so low. And then it's got that little almost like
you can see
ski
that
ramp, it looks like, that protects it.
Yeah, that cross member underneath, it definitely drops down quite a bit. And I will say, to the credit of the new truck, one of a few good things about it are the skid plates that you get underneath, as well as the fact that this truck, being a TRD off-road, has a rear locker, which is also really nice to have, especially if you want to go hit trails here in Colorado. And the traction control programming on these trucks is phenomenal.
They're insane.
It's amazing what this can get over.
Yeah, because this you just throw into high or low and you feather it and do your best with the gears.
And two, another big difference being the interior on this truck. So actually, because this is a pretty base level TRD off-road, we still have cloth seats, and it is a very plasticky dash, which admittedly on the old truck, mostly plastic around the dash, but very, very modern. No analog gauges anymore. It's a digital gauge cluster. We've got a center screen, a lot of safety tech, a lot of tech just in general. But I don't know, I got to say, I am a little partial to the old school analog trucks, as I'm sure you are too.
I would have to agree. I always like shifting gears. I had a 1974 Alfa Romeo GTV that didn't even have power steering or power brakes. It had a vacuum system on it. And it was just so much fun until you had to parallel park it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so what would you say with this truck are your long-term plans with it? You plan to run any trails with it?
I will definitely take it off-roading. I put the Nokian Outpost tires on it. Because they're three peak rated, and they're good off-road.
Yeah.
And they're extremely quiet, because the one thing that you do learn quickly about an old Toyota truck, lots of road noise.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So the tires have helped from the original tires when I bought it. But yeah, it is, I'm going to keep it as original as possible.
Which is good to hear.
Yep, the LED lights, I did keep the vacuum sealed
the old school
halogens in case, someday I do decide I'm going to sell it, which I highly doubt. I will make sure that any original parts that I took off of it will be able to go back on.
Yeah, and there's really, in my mind, no reason to modify it because this truck was well engineered the way it came. And even just looking at it with the amount of rubber that you've got on it, the stance of the truck looks perfect. And like we were talking about off camera earlier, I bet this paint will even shine up pretty nice. And you were talking about grabbing a new rear bumper for it at that point.
Yeah, it just take it to a few shows.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if trucks get into shows that often, but we'll find out.
Yeah, so we just wanted to show these two trucks side by side because it is pretty cool to see almost exactly 30 years of difference between small Toyota pickups. So I want to say thanks again for bringing your truck.
Oh, you're most welcome, Case.
To Boulder so we could check it out. And let us know in the comments below what you think. Which one of these trucks would you rather have in your garage? I think you know what both of us would like to have. And that's all for this video. Check out alltfl.com for all the rest of our coverage, and we'll see you in the next.